Hey everybody, Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today we have such an exciting painting that I'm bringing to you. I'm going to show you step by step, fully explained, how you can paint this gorgeous scene of a galactic sky over a beautiful pond at twilight. I'm very excited about this. To help me do this is my husband, John.
Hello.
Now, he is going to be helping me bring just this painting to you, but he's also helping me do the Acrylic August painting challenge, where we have a new painting every day for 31 days so that you can start a daily painting. So maybe you saw this and you just thought, oh, that's my favorite sky, and you wanted to paint that. This is, you can totally just paint this one, but I just wanted you to know it's part of this amazing, totally free 31 day. It's 31 days now because it's in August. Normally I do this in April, but I couldn't do it in April this year. So now we're in August. So you get 31 days of guided daily painting to get stronger and better. And this is like focused for beginners. So it's really cool. I'm going to show you how to do this today. I'm going to tell you the tools, tell you the mixes, tell you everything, walk you through it. You are going to love your result. There's nothing for you to do but get your paint, get your brushes, come back and meet me at the easel right now. Let's paint this. So for today's class, we're going to be using an 8x8 canvas, as we will be doing all month. On my palette, I have the colors Mars Black, Dioxazine Purple, and Phthalo Blue next to each other. That's going to be for a background color mix. I have Cad Yellow Medium, Cad Red Medium, Quinacridone Magenta. I have Phthalo Blue and Dioxazine Purple again, Titanium White. And I put over here, to deal with the dry painting conditions, a little bit of the Satin Glazing Liquid. That's a slow drying extender for my paint. I've got my little water bottle mister ready to go. And for the star splatter, I have Fluid Acrylic by Golden Titanium White. You can get these in little tiny, like 2 ounce or 1 ounce bottles that are really small, to get the cost down, or you can do craft paint. So nothing to do but jump right on in.
All right.
Step one will be fun. So I'm going to take an artist knife and I'm going to mix up my Dioxazine Purple and my Phthalo Blue together. It's going to make kind of a deep indigo. I like that for space. It's my preference.
It's a good space color.
All right. So artist knives are nice to have around because they do help you mix color when you have to incorporate two colors together. It's important that you wipe them clean when you're done, which I'm doing right now. And then I'm just going to grab a angle brush. This is a 3/4 inch angle brush. I'll go ahead and get it wet, take off the extra water, and just paint the whole background this deep color. Whole thing this purple indigo blue. And this is going to help us get the depth of space. You can use black for space, but I like to use color. This painting is going to have a little more spice to it. This is a spicier painting. A few more challenging moments. Adventures. Opportunities to grow. Lots of opportunities to grow. Creatively.
This is a good color.
Well, I'm just saying the whole painting.
Oh, no, I just like this color.
Yeah, no, it's a really good color, and I do really, this is like one of my things that I really like to do when I'm doing like a space scene, I'm just smoothing out, is to use a color instead of black. I really like it. I'm just scumbling in. This ground is going to help me not only have the depth of painting that I need, but it's going to help all the techniques that I've got to do, because the coat of paint, acrylic likes to stick to acrylic the best. More than gesso, more than anything, it likes to stick to itself. So sometimes doing one of these grounds allows you to get better painting results later when you're doing the techniques. And this won't be streaky at all by the time we're done. It's just about its first layer. I'm going to come here and just make sure everything is sort of going across. All right. I'm going to put that to the side, my brush. I'm going to dry all of this with my hair dryer. When we come back, I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. So I'm going to take my angle brush again, and I'm going to grab a little bit of my background color, and I'm going to come to this lower half, and I'm going to go back and forth about the lower third of it. I'm going to do this with. So I'm going back and forth with the color on the lower third, horizontal brush strokes. You'll notice that it got quite dark. Now I'm going to grab a little bit of white, and I'm going to come through here. I'm going to very carefully and horizontally streak a little bit of white. This is going to create just a little bit of the light reflection that we're going to be playing on later.
The keyhole from the lake kind of thing?
Yeah. A little light coming through on the stream. Reflecting from space. From the space. You can take it past where the stream is going to be. That's no problem. I do want to kind of make sure it's level, so I'm going to come back through with my clean brush and sort of level it off. We're going to have distant trees and things like that, but I just want to make sure that I've got a crisp place to start. So I gave myself some leveling. There we go. I'm going to stop my brush stroke from lifting up on the right-hand side. Okay. So once that's in, I'm going to come at the top, again, grabbing a little bit of my glazing liquid, and I'm going to make the top part of this canvas quite dark. Just the darkest dark it could be. Just kind of bring it down. And you'll see that's taking all the streaking out of it. Making it the depth of space.
Space is deep.
Space is deep. And really up here, we want to get that sense that things are deep. And we don't want to try to get so much depth going that we can't get our light colors going. So I like to put in the depth of the background early. Just kind of getting it going early. I'm going to rinse out my brush. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of my phthalo blue and a little bit of white. They're going to be kind of streaky and loosely mixed together, and I'm going to come back here very carefully. Add some little blue and white. Kind of far to the right-hand side, and then it's going to go over far to the left. Big, broad brush strokes. So now we have some nice beginnings of that reflection that we're going to be able to work on. Okay, now we're going to dry everything. I'll come back and I'll show you what we do next. Now I want to make a little light area down here so that when I come and put the bright pops of yellow and orange, it shows against the background. I've got a number 12 Princeton Select round blender. It's got a nice soft head here. I'm going to go ahead and get it into my glazing liquid just so that things stay wet for me long enough. And I'm going to load up with my white paint. I'm going to come here and begin to come along and work the bottom here. Just adding a little bit of bright light. And then as I come out, I'm going to begin to scumble using little curved brush strokes. To have a nice little glow going across here. So sometimes when we're painting dark, we gotta come back with some light color. It's almost a dry brush over here, just very light. Just back and forth. And then definitely through here. Just little kind of circles and curves here. Come in and make an even kind of wider keyhole. We're going to have a lot to differentiate this space from this space, so this line only has to be approximate. You don't have to be stressed too much on that line.
Right.
Lightly, I'll add some over here. When I want to have less paint come off, I just lighten my brush stroke. Then I'm going to come here and I'm going to bring a little bit of a ribbon of white. Maybe a little glazing medium to improve the flow. Allowing that to be a little bit streaky. Wipe off on a paper towel, and I'm going to go ahead and lightly brush in some white areas here as well. Especially along our little ribbon. So I'm creating areas that will work with the transparency of my paints and my pigments. And I'm sort of pre-working the nebulous. Notice that I'm going little curve push stroke, lifting up and coming back, making irregular shapes. So when we come in and we paint values like this, we are almost doing something called a grisaille. Not quite, but we're in the neighborhood of it. And that's where we use glazing methods to create brighter values, like where you create the tonal study and then you come over with color and glaze it in, and what's underneath helps bring it up. That's a little more than I want. It's good to have the color light through here because you want the streaks to be your main focus if you can have it. We can put those back in, so don't worry. Just a little bit. Lots just happening up here in space. Busy time.
Right.
Busy time up in the galaxy.
Was you just putting the foundation for the colors that come later?
Yeah. Just putting some foundation for it looks crazy, right? If you're painting this, you're like, man, this can't be how painting works. Sometimes this is how painting works. I'm working very light. This also gives me a chance to practice, lightening my stroke, blending, dry brushing, scumbling, all these little techniques that I've got to do to create little galaxy feel. This does help me start to work that in and know where that is, where those big moments are. And we're going to be really coming up with some bright blue through here. I'm not picking up a lot of new paint. I'm just creating some architecture where I come in with my blue and I start blending into my background of space. It's going to register as the blue that it is. Okay, nice dark values, nice light values. Okay, that's good. That's a good architecture to start with. I'm going to rinse my brush out.
Yeah.
I'm going to dry everything. So I'm going to continue on with the same brush. This is still the number 12 round blender, and I'm going to load up a little bit of my yellow. I'll go ahead and get some glazing liquid into it. And I'm going to begin to paint in the bright yellow that's down here at the bottom. Just working back and forth, pushing up, kind of doing that little push up, little circular stroke. It's like a little C. And we get a little bit of my yellow and my red together to create kind of an orange. Yeah. Go ahead and get a little glazing liquid on that. See if I can very carefully work these two together. Light brush pressure is really a very key element to this, keeping your brush pressure very light. I'm going to go ahead and wipe my brush off a little bit. And I'm going to come back with a little bit of yellow. Work these two together. Just having a nice little time.
Just building up that sunset.
Build. Well, it's the galaxy.
Yeah, I guess so. I kind of saw this as like the sun kind of setting down there at the very bottom of the
Well,
the
yeah,
sky,
it is.
and then,
It is the sun setting down at the very bottom, and then you're
the
seeing the
galaxy up
stars.
there, yeah.
So I'm going to grab a little of my magenta. Kind of blend in here. Just working that through.
Yep. That's a really soft blendy brush, huh?
It's very soft. It's one of my very favorite brushes for clouds and galaxy and blending. Fantastic for working on skin tones because it gives you such a soft diffused effect. And again, we're working on a very dramatic sky. Drama, drama, drama all in the sky.
Such good drama.
It's good drama. Now I might wipe my brush off on my towel and come back and kind of smudge and blend those together. Because we want this to feel like a glow coming up. Just keep working it. Come up there, back into my yellow. Just little C strokes, just very light. Back into the yellow. Up into the little color burst here. Wipe off the brush every once in a while. I've got a towel here and I go, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just help. That towel, you just let it dry and it continues to be useful. You've used that same towel for a very, very long time.
Yes. Yeah. One towel is put out into the world, I'm gonna grab a little bit of my phthalo blue and my glazing liquid. I'm going to begin to work that in up here. This is just the beginning, the thought of what we're doing. We're just using some tricks to have an easier time with it. You can kind of see this just brings that blue up there. I'm bringing the blue into the dark color. Clouds up here. Can take it all the way out. And then here I'm going to grab a little magenta and take it over to my Doc's purple. Get kind of a purple color. And begin to put in this like purple space that's a little more purple. And this gives us this architecture to start working from. Blending this here. Soft blending here. So I'm just soft with the brush going over areas that need to be blended where I want it to be softer. I'm rinsing my brush out thoroughly. And I think I am going to dry it for the next layer. I think that I definitely want it to be dry for the next layer. So I'm going to dry it thoroughly. Take a deep breath. Let it out. These are challenging techniques, but you've got this handled. We continue on. Got my little round brush here. And my little yellow. Now, if you don't have the brushes I'm using for this Acrylic April challenge, you just want to use your closest next available brush. I use the tools that I fully recommend, but I recognize we can't always have those. So it's okay to use like your own round brush or a different brush that you like better than this. I won't be hurt. I'm going to just come and dust this little area of white light down here. Kind of bring it up. Come along this little edge low. I'm coming along this little edge low. Getting into my yellow again. So this is how we're getting the colors so vibrant.
Right.
We're building up in layers.
It's popping.
Bring it up different places. Little soft brush strokes. I change direction too. Sometimes the circle motion goes to the left. Sometimes the circle motion goes to the right. I'm raising my hand up and down, and I'm paying attention to the patterning of these lines. dust it back into that because it's nice. Grab a little bit of my cad red and cad yellow together and make a nice little orange. Just gonna pull some little orange in. So as we add these layers, it just creates this dimensionality in our sky. Who's to say, right? What your night sky looks like. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine.
Well, I have seen many night skies, and not two of them have ever been the same.
I think that's true. I think that the sky is always a new sky. It's like fingerprints. Always new in some way. I'm going to rinse out. I'm going to get a little of my quinacridone, and I'm going to warm it with a little bit of cad red. And I'm going to add some white to the mix right now. You'll notice that's a much brighter pink. And I may get my glazing medium involved so it's a little more transparent, because when I add the white, it also adds pigment. So we're just popping up some pink into this wonderful little sky. Now I've got my background sky color here, so if I have to come back and add shadow anywhere, I can do that super easily. You can do that super easily. So if it gets too uniform in shape, you can come back with the sky background. What you're learning to do here is really what we do when we're wanting to paint clouds and things. Very similar techniques. Very light down here.
This is lots of gentle swirling.
Lots of gentle swirling. Swirly, swirly, swirl. Grab a little bit of white. And add a little highlight and dimensionality here and there. You could use a D brush or one of my Artini rounds to get a similar technique. So there's other brushes that you can use. But I really like this one and I do highly recommend it.
Makes for the super fluffy sky.
It does help with the fluff. When you're having a what the fluff day. Grab a little bit of my just pure magenta. Rinse out. Now I might want to come back with a little bit of my background. To add some interest back in. Just
very
like
interesting.
Very glazing. Just glazing, glazing, glazing. Glaze, glaze, glaze. Making sure that the shapes are fascinating along the galaxy. And the sunset, as John pointed out.
I guess it could be a sunrise too.
Could be.
Depends on, like, we could orient ourselves by the stars. We just have to look and see where we're at in the universe here.
I'm going to, well, once we splatter the stars, I think that's going to mess up your whole universe plan. Those are not stars you can navigate by. Can add little bits of white here. Start to put in this sort of blue nebula. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. My pressure here is super soft.
Light sky pressure?
Light sky pressure. You want to dance the sky. Dance up in the sky.
I think that's how the galaxy gets there. It just dances in.
Well, they do sort of dance with each other, don't they? Gravitationally.
Yeah.
Kind of like, especially when they're two absorbing into each other.
Well, it's, hard to know if gravity is a function of time and motion, or if
Painting is a function of time and motion. Just pulling this through here. Or rinse out. Getting some like real effects here. Come into some purple. With my quinacridone. And I do want to get a little white involved. Just adding a little bit of this purple. Coming in. All right, we're going to switch brushes, my friend.
you're going to switch it up. Which one are you going to use now?
We're going to go to a new step, and I'm going to go to my number 6 round. Continuing
Conveniently, we're on step 6.
Conveniently, we're on step 6, and we're painting with a 6. So I'm going to load up some of my blue here. And I'm doing a similar motion. I'm using this brush to kind of be particular here and deepen some of this work. Blew it up. It blew up. Just running this along here. Just coming back in and just playing with it. Skyscapes are a lot of fun, but they can give us a lot of stress because we have... Well, that was interesting. We just had a power blip there. Blip. Boom. But we got it. So we're just going to continue on.
That's right. We're
going to fix it in post and just continue on. So I'm going to keep adding a little blue here and there. This comes in. I'm just creating interesting dimensionality with what I have. Making sure that the galactic elements of it are fascinating. So fascinating. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of glazing liquid on this brush. I'm going to go in and get a little white. And I'm going to come here and add a little bit of that sort of galactic ripple. Glazing liquid does help me have good flow on this particular technique. Just a little bit of interest ribbon in the sky. I'll come back through with a little bit of my white and blue. I'm going to come over and get some glazing liquid on it. And I'm going to keep pushing this little galaxy space up here. Just playing with those little moments. Dance, dance, dance across the sky. Do the sky boogie. Boogie, boogie, boogie. Your brush goes boogie. Starting to look very nice there. So we just play with it and we continue to play with it until we're happy with the results we're getting. I'm going to take a little bit of my Cad Red and Quinacridone Magenta and some titanium white again. Some glazing liquid. I wipe it off on my towel so I don't have too much on my brush, but I've got to have enough to be able to do the technique. I'm just pushing this along here and making this more interesting. And you can see me get it right into magenta when I want to darken and pink that up. Back over to the glaze. Sometimes just wiggling and dancing the brush does a lot. Sometimes it doesn't do anything at all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like that little. I like how you're trimming everything out. It makes it sort of have these beautiful cosmic edges. I think these are some of my favorite paintings you do. These combination skies.
Yeah, I like them a lot. They're fun to do. Just pulling in here. And then again, we come back with pink, pink, so we're not going to lose anything. We're okay either way.
Yeah.
So even if you get it too white, you come back with the dark pink. and you can always pink it back up. Just little wiggles and dances of the brush. And back into the magenta.
You sort of dance the colors across the sky.
Dance the colors across the sky with your brush. You and your brush are having a little dance together. And they're dancing across the sky. And adding shadows is as important as adding highlights in a sky. A lot of times it's where everything sort of comes together.
Yeah.
And I'm just working the brush from the mid-belly to the toe. I'm not hurting the form of the brush at all. The brushes, no brushes are harmed in the making of this painting. Bring the pink up here. Get a little yellow into that pink, warm it up. This is one of those ones that you're going to spend a second with, and you're going to play with. Play, play, play. Play, play, play. Play, play, play. And you'll want to think of it as play. Let's come up and add a little play into our little purple galaxy, yeah?
Yeah.
Which is magenta and Doc's purple together and a little bit of white. I like it to be distinctly purple, but I like the magenta in there to help it kind of fit into the sky that we do have. Bring some glazing liquid over so that my colors are a little transparent. Notice that my brush kind of goes up and down. Little galaxy here. Little galaxy there. If you want inspiration, you can actually check out the NASA website. They have a bunch of Creative Commons images of space, which means you can use them as photo references for your own paintings.
Mm-hmm. I think that their NASA has a ton of photos that you can use.
Well, that's just coming in. Come and get a little blue, I think, and I want to just make sure that I've got a little blue running through there, and then I'm going to come back with my little ribbon. Paint that little bit in the sky a little more thoughtfully. Some little ribbons. All right. When we come back, I'm going to show you what you do next. So the next part really kind of brings it all together and makes it a starry night. So I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm going to cover what will be my water down here. And I'm going to get my fluid paint. And I'll put it next to my white paint because I can, you know, use it from there. Maybe a little more. If you don't have the fluid paint, you can thin your white paint with water. And if you've never splattered anything before, I would watch my How to Splatter video, How to Splatter Stars video. I'm going to go ahead and get this wet with clean water. Tap off the extra. I'm going to go ahead and load up, which is just straight up and down into the white paint. I do get my finger involved, so if you don't like touching the paint, you may want to get gloves, but this is how it's done. I flick back.
Ooh,
and I splatter the night sky.
Super cool.
And that's how you get that galaxy effect. But you do have to dry it to do it. You like it?
Yeah.
Fun times. We've got some fun space stuff this month, so I'm excited about that. All right. Make sure you rinse your splatter brushes out, and then we're going to dry it, and I'll show you what you do next. So to help myself out for this next part, I'm going to grab a tool called a T-square, and I'm going to come up just a little bit above the bottom of my sky. Just a little bit. Smidge, because I want all this nice lightness to help me get my silhouette. I'm going to get my round brush again. I'm going to thin a little of my black paint with a drop of water. You could also thin it with a glazing medium. I could have done that. And I'm going to just come across here using my ruler to have a straighter edge. So that gives us a fairly straight edge to work from. I like to flip it around sometimes too and make sure it's got a nice line both ways. Because that will be my water line. All right, I'm going to put this stuff aside for a second, and I'm going to go back and just to smudge up the yellow, I'm going to go back and get a little bit of my background color.
There we go. You see, I see that. You're using an angle brush there?
Yeah, I'm using the 3/4 inch angle brush just to make sure that the water will have a crisp line. And I can always go back with a little bit of my blue white and just make sure that I've got a smidge of a highlight here. So you can see that blends in pretty well. And rinse that out. And now I'm going to use my round brush and my black paint. I'm going to kind of flick my round brush a little bit more open. Now, for you guys, you could also use a deerfoot stippler for this, or just a hog bristle brush, or a stipple, or any of that. I'm just tapping up and down. And I'm going to come here, tap up and down to create kind of distant bushes. Yeah, there's just putting a little distant bush line. And don't worry about this part here because we can come back with our black paint and our round brush. See, and make that a nice solid silhouette. So we're covered either way. Tapping up and down.
You've got this.
I'm going to come over to the other side and do some. And I'm also raising the brush and lowering the brush. I'd say the big thing is just making sure you've got a load of paint on there.
Yeah, you got to have enough paint.
Yeah.
Now this is again that little soft kind of stipply brush.
Yeah, this is the round blender. You could use a deerfoot stippler. You could use a hog bristle brush. You're just kind of creating some distant little shrubberies. Shrubberies. A shoreline, one might say. And I'm just letting the unevenness of the brush create that sense of shoreline. Then I can just come through with my round brush improve that silhouette.
Just kind of strengthen the contrast.
Yeah. You can also come through with just the point. If you have any weird bushes that you want to change, you can just tap up and down like this. So I can mimic that edge too with just my round brush. It's just a little bit fussier, takes a little longer. But if you're trying to create that distant off-angled edge, that's how you do that. So let's call that a step, and then we'll add some reflections to our water.
Need to dry that? No, need to dry?
Yeah,
No?
let's dry
Okay,
it. Let's dry. Dry. So I'm going to take a chalk pencil. This is a Cretacolor white chalk pencil. You could use one of the Dritz chalk tools that I often use. Just any of your chalk, your sketching tools that you can use on your canvas. And I'm going to come here and sketch a little bit of my water going to the side. I'm going to think about it coming forward. And then it's going to come down here and go right off the surface. Then I've got a shoreline. It's going to come here, kind of at this angle. And we're going to have grasses here. I just need to know where I'm brushing the water through, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to wander this way. The other thing that I want to do is I want to take this, grab my T-square again. Oh, not wet though. You don't want it to be wet. That is not helpful.
Right.
So watch for that. And just make sure. Oh, that just broke off, so I use a different one. Don't drop your chalk pencils on the floor. That is the lesson we learned. So this is a Dritz chalk one. You can see just sometimes is a thicker one. So I just want to make sure that I've got a nice shoreline. Just giving me grief today, John.
It happens sometimes. You have to do things a couple times to get it.
Do you know what? I'm going to move it down.
Yeah.
I didn't want to use this chalk one initially because the chalk was thick. And I wanted to get it tighter to the T-square. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my T-square down and come across here much more aggressively.
Ah.
so I can see that line better. All right, so that gives me the confines of the river, and before I put the river in, I'm definitely going to want to fix my shoreline. So we've got that thickened up there. Okay, so now we know what's our water and where all of that is.
You
and
got
that's
your shore boundary line.
Got our shore boundary on, man. So I'm going to take a little bit of my phthalo blue and titanium white. And I'm going to streak inside those confines. A little bit of phthalo blue and titanium white, loosely mixed.
Just that reminded me of a song I liked when I was a kid.
Which is?
They call me the Streak. I think I had that 45.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I did.
And the big thing here is to try to keep this to a horizontal angle. I might even pull my round back because it could give me like a scratchy. I think I could do a brush that makes this easier for me. Let me test the thing. I think this will make it easier for me. I'm going to take my round brush and I'm going to loosely mix up some phthalo blue and titanium white on the round brush, and I'm going to see if I can get a good... Yeah, see, I can get a good streak there.
Yeah.
Horizontally. Let's get a little more white. I just want to make sure that I keep my horizontal the same horizontal. I don't want to get in an angle.
Right.
Is what I'm trying to avoid.
It's a nice little,
little bit of a stream there.
Put the shores in. It'll be neat.
Yeah, when the shore comes in and we highlight the grasses, then that'll be really nice. But we got to add a couple more highlights to our water. So let's dry everything. And I'll show you what we do when we come back. So I'm going to grab my little detail round again. And I'm going to get a little white on here. And I'm going to just add some little ripples in the water. Also horizontal. If I want to change how any of them go, I just come back with phthalo blue. So I can fix how those go if I don't like one. Maybe grab a little heavy body. And just bring a little bit of that light down the stream.
I like all the little reflections here.
Just trying to make sure that it goes off my canvas. I'm just using my finger to straighten it out. What you can do. I'm going to grab a little bit of my white and my yellow. Add a little bit of yellow to the reflection. A little bit of white, a little bit of yellow. And I might come grab a little bit of my white and my quin magenta. I think I'm going to turn it and take some of my quin magenta back this way. This is just so that the color up top is sort of in the water.
I like how more and more complex this gets. Is you guys, and that you talk about taking the color from one area and putting it in other areas.
Yeah, and since water is a mirror, you want to put what colors you have up in the sky in your water. I'll just bring some little water reflections now. Just create a little dimensionality.
It does. It creates visual complexity.
Yeah, I think so. Just a little bit of light in the water. Okay. When we come back, I'll show you what we do next after we dry it. So I'm going to get my angle brush out again, the 3/4 inch, and I'll grab some glazing liquid on here just so that I have nice flow for my black paint. You could use water as well. And I'm going to come down this embankment with a solid cap of black at first. Solid, solid, solid cap of black.
Oh, the shore just goes kaboom.
Boom, shoreline. That's exactly right. That's what we're looking at is boom, shoreline. Then I'm going to want to come over here very carefully, just the toe of my brush. Build a little shoreline over here. All black as well. Now the shoreline can have some little reflections that might come over. These are like the little shadows. We're putting little shadows out. Just putting that little shadow run out, so when we put like the other details in, it will look like that's being cast down. Rinse this brush out, and I'm going to grab my round brush.
This is really just coming together very nice.
Well, thank you. I hope everyone is enjoying their painting today. Having a good painting day. And I'm going to take my brush and very gently flick up a little line of grasses. I like to stay to the toe of the brush, and I run the grasses both directions, like so that they bend a lot of different ways. So they're not straight. They're not orderly or timely or any of that. They're all over the place. We just come all along the shore with these little grasses. The shadow helps the highlight grasses show up. So unless you have the shadow grass, it's really tough to have the highlight grass look really, really good.
Right.
Just bring those little toes upwards.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to come along this line. Do a similar thing. All right, let's call that a step. Dry everything.
Dry everything, yeah.
Yeah, we want to dry everything. So I'm going to take my yellow and my red together, and I'm going to make a nice kind of yellow-orange liquid so my paint isn't drying on me. Make a nice yellow-orange. And then I mix in a little bit of black. Let's begin. Maybe even a little white even. Just upward little flicking motions. Just flick, 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 flick. And way over here to the left, we start way, way before we even come down our embankment. We go down our embankment. Let's imply a little clump of grass right here. Rinse out. Get some red and yellow again.
I can't. The sky, the way that it reflects on this water is just so cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, it's nice. It's very colorful painting for being a nighttime painting.
It is a colorful painting for being a nighttime painting. We're going to add a little orange to the little grass areas, little highlights. Little pop of bright. Just a little bit of highlight. We're going to dry everything and then I'll show you how we wrap this all up. So I'm going to take a little bit of water, like a drop, over to my black paint and I'm going to thin it again. So I have nice high flow of nice paint that will just come off my brush easily. Right? Because it's not going to flow off my brush easily if it's thick. So it does help if I thin it a little bit. Now I wipe my brush off before painting with it though, because it's got a heavy load of paint once I do that. Go on the toe here and I'm going to come over here and flick back and create a little bit of shadow there.
Right, a little dimensionality.
So it looks more like grass is catching a little bit of light.
Right, yeah.
Make it as interesting as you can. And then we're going to come and do this over here again. Just a little pond with a brilliant night sky.
I like this. This is really cool.
Sometimes I'll mix more black paint in if I feel like I'm not getting enough coverage. And then we come through here through these grasses. Where just another little bunch of grass catches some light. Just a little bit.
Just made it.
Just really a little kiss of it.
It really requires that double layer to make it work.
Yeah, it has to have the double layer to read how it is. To read to be what it is. You can always put more grass back in. Like I can come back in with my little orange here and always add a few more blades. There we go. That's a little more interesting. Okay, so when all of that is done, you want to get your tiniest little brush that you like.
Yeah.
Something that you find comfortable to work with. And I'm going to take a little bit of my white over to this color here. Kind of create a thinned version of it. Roll my brush. This is a number 0 Raphael Precision. And we put our signature down in the corner.
Yeah.
To say we're done. Though you don't actually have to be done. You're allowed to work on your painting even after you sign it.
I like where it's at.
All right. When I come back, I'm going to tell you what we do next. So first of all, congratulate yourself on doing this painting. Skies are really challenging, and you have done another painting on another day, meeting your own goals, meeting your own challenge. You know, maybe you only came for this one painting, or maybe you're doing Acrylic August and you're doing that daily painting challenge, and you were like, whoo, today. Somewhere along the challenge, you're going to have paintings that just flow easily, and you're going to have paintings that are harder.
Yeah.
But as long as you show up and do your best, by the end of it, you're going to get what you started this challenge out for, which is to be a more confident, capable painter, because you're learning all these techniques and you're doing it back to back. Your brain is changing. Your whole artistic relationship to everything you have is changing. You're getting muscle memory. You're getting better. It's happening. It just happens over time. You're going to be surprised at, like, by the end of this, you'll be like, man, I'm sorry that it's over. Even though in the middle of it, you may be like, was this a good idea?
Right.
I'm not sure if this is a good idea, but it is. It's a really good idea because I've seen this. This is our 5th year. And I've just seen it be so transformative for people. And so, like, if you're at all having that middle of the week, first week questioning space, I'm just used to this happening, middle of the week, first week questioning space. Yeah. You go by that Acrylic April group on Facebook and you share, and you're going to have so many people. There's 10,000 of the nicest people you've ever met in your life. They're going to tell you, I was where you were. I know how you feel. It's completely normal. You're okay. And they're going to help you get through this challenge. So you're not having to do this alone. So when you do have days that are harder to find the energy for, harder to find the belief in yourself, you go by that group, you let people know, you get that encouragement, because that's going to carry you through, because we're not doing this alone. We're doing this together. That's the wonderful part of this challenge. So the Acrylic April group, of course, you can always share these in the Art Sherpa official group, where there's 50,000 of the nicest people you'd ever hope to meet. And I really mean that. I say the number and the people because they're that nice. They're just sweet. It's a great place to share your painting as well. So if you're doing any of the tutorials with me, you can always share over there. Of course, I'm on all the social media and everything. Everything you saw in this lesson is available for sale in my art store. So if you wanted to support us that way, you could go by. And if you needed a little glazing liquid and you're running a little low, you could grab it from us. You know, if you're in North America, unfortunately, we don't ship globally yet, but that's a nice way. If you think programs like this are amazing and you want to help us keep doing this free art education like we do, you can check out Patreon and see if that wouldn't be a good fit of some way to, like, combine support. And they get special extra lessons, and they get to see this whole challenge early, and they get to name the paintings, and they get Zoom classes. There's just a whole bunch that goes on for them. You can go check out all those rewards over there. But there's a lot even at the opening tier, and it's got a free sign up one where you just go over there for free and just follow, because sometimes I post over there. So it's just a good place to follow as well, to know what's going on. And that's really, other than just being really appreciative of yourself and really realizing that you need to pat yourself on the back for the good work that you're doing, that you took this on and that you're still in there and you're hanging in, you are winning. So pat yourself on the back, and I want you to be good to yourself, be good to each other, and I will see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.